this February 22nd card in Saudi Arabia is starting to get more and more exciting by the day. The latest rumor is that we're going to see Erislandy Lara possibly taking on Vergil Ortiz Jr. for the 160-pound WBA title. Now, the news is just started circulating. Here's the journalist right here. I translated it for you from Spanish. For those who don't know, I used to identify as a Chicano last year, but for a few years actually. But I decided, I'm going to be Afro Latino X now. But anyway, that's neither here or there. So the card on February the 22nd on the Zone, and it will be somewhere between $20 and $40 on pay-per-view here in the States, will feature IBF champion Daniel Dubois coming off his win against Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker. Daniel Dubois slowly creeping up on the best resume in heavyweight boxing. Currently, win or loss, it belongs to Anthony Joshua. Win or loss, we're talking about. We're not talking about Usyk being number one, but follow me. You got Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol 2. It was supposed to be Boots Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz, but Boots Ennis team, it's a PR disaster. To catch you up, when the contract was sent over to Golden Boy, they were all ready to go. The fight was verbally agreed, but then they saw a stipulation in there, and that stipulation was 147 pounds. Vergil Ortiz hasn't fought at 147 pounds since 2022. He was supposed to fight current WBA 147-pound champion Amantes Stanionis multiple times, but because of weight issues and basically damn near dying to make the weight, he finally decided to move up to 154 pounds. But he didn't have his first 154-pound fight until his last fight against Sergey Bohchuk. Follow me here. I'm explaining. Hold on. Where is it at? It's on this side. There you go. So follow me here. 22-0 with 21 KOs, 26 years old, good fighter. However, many are saying he got exposed by Sergey Bohchuk. In my personal opinion, it's his first full fight at the weight, and Bohchuk is not a joke. We've learned that the last few fights now. So I didn't give him too much shit on that. However, boxing fans these days, they've been on his ass, saying he got exposed and he's not that good and he need to keep Crawford's name out his mouth and yada, yada, yada. Before that, he fought Tomas Delorme. Now, this was disgraceful. I was really pissed off at this. You can go watch my post-fight video. Thomas Delorme had no business above the 140-pound division. No business at all. So for this fight to take place, look at the weight. Anything over 154 pounds is Canelo weight. And then it's middleweight. But the point I'm trying to make is it was at the middleweight, the middleweight division. Golovkin. You see what I'm saying? Canelo. You see what I'm saying? And Delorme's up there. Before that, Frederick Lawson at 156 pounds. And as you can see, August of 2022 was when he fought at 147 and beat up Michael McKinson. So for Boots and his team, whether it was Eddie Hearn, who I think it is, whether it was Boozy Ennis, the father, or whether Boots Ennis, the thing is, Boots Ennis has been saying pretty much that he don't know how it got in there. That's the excuse that he's going with. And, and I'm not saying that fighters don't do that with it, like, I'm going to let my manager or my promoter handle it. But at the end of the day, it's your reputation. He was already, how can I say, dealing with some bad social media PR for his performance against Karen, I was going to butcher his name. I call him Karenchuk, his last fight. In fact, let me pull up Boots Ennis' resume right here so we can have a better understanding. By the way, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. We're back. I'm feeling good, actually. You like my sound? I got a little bit of new graphics, some exciting things coming along. And now I can get videos out faster, if that makes sense. So, hold on, let me pull this up here. By the way, make sure you drop a like. And soon, we're going to be going live during fights. And then my post-fight videos are going to stay the same, but they're going to be clipped out. So you're going to, if you join my live streams, you're going to be a part of the action. So here's what he had to say. As you can see, I seen the rumors on social media just like y'all did as far as the fight with me and Vergil. I was unaware that alleged negotiations was being made on my end. From here on out, if it didn't come from me and me only, don't believe it. I will address if I'm staying at 147 or moving up to 54 at a later date and time. Now, already, I played this clip from Timothy Bradley yesterday in my video before this. He's getting slaughtered on social media because it's funny how it can go where people in one fight, it can change from you being a boogeyman. I never called him the boogeyman. I never said he was a boogeyman. I always thought he was a good fighter. And remember, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm not, if this was 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, I would have been on here clowning the shit out of Boots Ennis being from Philly or not. But I don't engage in that behavior anymore. 41-year-old man, but at the same time, this shit looked bad. And he didn't look good against Karen, so what are people saying? Oh, you know what? He's exposed. Now, me, going back to my point, I never viewed him as being a special fighter, a good fighter. But looking at the resume, I just didn't see enough. Is that a crime? Is that a crime? I just didn't see enough. I'm like, okay, judging off the level of competition. For example, if he would have fought Vergil Ortiz and he would have put on a master class, I would have been like, yes, that is it. I can see it now. But I don't see it. 33-0 with 29 KOs. Who am I? A guy, literally, and I had to do the math. This was probably last year. I have covered hundreds of fights on YouTube. Over a 10-year, I started on YouTube full-time in 2013. Was it 2014? 2013. Before 2013 and prior, I was on YouTube, but basically I wasn't taking it seriously. It was 2014 when I started taking it seriously. So I guess what I'm saying is I've been covering hundreds of fights, and over the last 4 years, I slowed down with my content. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not no casual. I be sitting here watching all of these cards. If you go back, I be watching motherfucking Mickey Rourke fight. You can't hold my socks when it comes to this boxing shit. I watch these cards full on. I'm talking about some degenerate shit back in the day when you had to really want it. There was no DAZN. There was no ESPN Plus. You had to want it to go watch Stuart Hall and motherfucking the one that got beat up by Inoue, Paul, fights. I was grinding it out, watching York Hall fights. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is looking at the resume, I ain't see nothing. I was like, all right, cool, Sergey Limpinets. But Sergey Limpinets, I never looked at him as being that serious. By the way, he's supposed to be fighting Adam Azim next. I never looked at him as being like a serious threat. Yeah, he had those Twitter fingers. He used to be talking mad shit on Twitter about not getting his shot. But now he's close to being a journeyman. But also, he was a blown up 140 pounder. I'm talking like Big J now. Basically, he was fighting at 147. But he never belonged in a division to me. And as you can see, Tomas Delorme, well, he was already getting his shit pushed in. And when the time came when Boots fought him, he was literally an Uber driver. You think I'm joking? You think I'm joking? Somebody found him. Hold on, let me pull it up. And as you can see, Tomas Delorme Uber. There you go. Here's the motherfucker go right here. I mean, I'm not knocking the hustle, but what I'm saying is he was long past the prime. No disrespect. I'm not trying to say it that way, but it's like, so what I'm saying is I'm going through the resume. Custodio Clayton, I forgot who did he fought. Did he beat up the Hebrew Hammer? Who did he beat up that I watched him fight before? He beat up somebody I watched. Who did he beat up? I'm sorry, I'm going deep down a rabbit hole. He beat up somebody I used to like. Anyway, moving on. I can't find it. But moving on, look at the resume. So you got Sergey Limpinets. All right. Tomas Delorme. All right. Custodio Clayton. All right. Karinchuk. First fighter, he ain't stopping some time. Roman Villa. I never really looked at him as being big shit, but he had that momentum because he had beat up Rashidi Ellis. David Avanesian. And then Karinchuk. So it's like this. He still was he got his vacant belt. I don't use the term email champion, but at the same time, he didn't really go out there and capture the belt from the champion. That's not his fault because the IBF been on some weird shit when it comes to who they decide to strip and order mandatories for. But whatever the case may be, there wasn't nothing there. So I'm not saying, remember, he's still undefeated. He's won all of his fights. But I'm saying I still haven't seen enough yet. But anyway, moving back on. So it's looking like they're moving on from Boots Ennis, and it's not going to be Vergil Ortiz versus Boots Ennis, but it's going to be Vergil Ortiz versus Erislandy Lara. And when we go take a gander at Erislandy Lara, for one, he's listed as 41 years old. Now, I'm going to tell you my story for those who don't know how I view the Cubans and how they do with their ages. So when they come over here, when they defect, they pretty much can be whatever they want. They got the lottery ticket where they can just like create a whole new social security number, everything. So you have some Cuban fighters who will abuse the privilege of being able to change their age. And then you'll have somebody like Erislandy Lara that's been around since PlayStation 2, saying he's 41. He's been around forever, has he not? I was in college. I'm 41. I was in college. We're the same age. I was in college. You know how long that Paul Williams fight was, and when he fought Carlos Molina? No, not that Molina. You know how long ago that shit was? That shit was 2011, man. 2011. How about the Canelo fight was over 10 years ago? Yeah, you feel old yet? That's a decade. For those who were born in 1983, that's like 1973. You see how the difference in time? There was no smartphones. There was no smart TVs. We still had them big ass floor models in our houses. 31-3 with 19 KOs. As you can see, Lara's had a pretty interesting career since losing to Canelo. He went on to fight Ishe Smith, Delvin Rodriguez, Jan Zabek. That was on ESPN. They had lawn chairs. It was raining, and it was the last ESPN PBC fight. He fought Venice Martirosyan, Yuri Foreman with a bum-ass knee. By the way, that was the last Spike TV fight. So at this point in time, Erislandy Lara was a network deal killer. He was the last PBC on ESPN fight. Go check my stats. He was the last PBC on Spike fight. Go check my stats. He fought Terrell Goucher. I was at that fight. That's the first ever Barclays fight I went to where they didn't have a post-fight press conference. That was the card where I believe Charlo knocked out Lubin in like one round. Well, anyway, people were walking out. They were pissed. They were throwing chicken bones and stuff. And I'm talking about, it was ugly, nasty fight. Ill. Jared Hurd went to war with Jared Hurd, who comes in the ring at about 190 plus pounds. Hey, I'm not knocking it, whatever. Brian Castano, before we know Brian Castano was kind of good, by the way. Where the hell has he been? And then I guess he wanted some type of revenge. He fought Ramon Alvarez. That is Canelo's balding brother, the one with the widow's peak. So beat him up, first knockout since Yuri Foreman, and Yuri Foreman had a bum-ass knee, so it depends on how you look at that. Greg Vendetti, who the hell is that? I covered that fight. Thomas Cornflake Lamana, okay, Philly area, New Jersey fighter, but at the same time, starched him and won. By the way, Thomas Lamana may be fighting Jamal Charlo, possibly on Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, March the 1st. Gary Spike O'Sullivan, in 2022, he fought him. No, this was bananas right here. There's no way that Erislandy Lara should have been fighting Gary Spike O'Sullivan. Mick Zarafa got knocked out. By the way, Mick Zarafa may be signing with Matchroom. I forgot who he's being linked to fight. He's being linked to fight somebody. Forgot. And then Danny Garcia, a fight they were trying to make for a year and a half, I think 2 years actually. But because Lara has a history of being one of the top paid PBC fighter guaranteed purse. And I'm talking about like, every time he steps in the ring, he's making $1 million+ plus. The problem with that is, let's be honest, Erislandy Lara don't move no tickets. He don't move no ratings. So you got to match him against a guy, that can kind of sell the fight. They tried it with Danny Garcia, but it wasn't enough to get funding for them to have their own event. So what did they do? They slapped it on a Canelo pay-per-view. And you notice that about him is that he's been slapped on pay-per-views or cards where he'll be the A side fighting like J sides, except for the Danny Garcia fight. Look, Mick Zarafa, Gary Spike O'Sullivan, Lamana, Greg Vendetti, Ramon Alvarez. You see where I'm going with this? So now that the Saudis are here, he's the perfect fighter for PBC to outsource because clearly they can't pay the guy. Or they don't want to because they don't have nobody to give him the fight that actually wants to fight him where they can justify paying him $1 million plus. So the Saudis got that money, and listen, I'm all for it. So as it stands right now, that card is amazing. And even though I have my concerns about what the Saudis are doing, buying up everything, who am I to really care? Because all I want to do is watch the fights. If they're giving us these type of fights, what do I really care? Boxing been fucked for about a good 15 years now, man. It's been really fucked up. So I'm glad we're getting some life in the sport. And where would we be without the Saudis right now in boxing? Honestly, PBC is literally on life support. They're still pumping, but barely. So from these fights, Jaylee Jane versus Ija Kabiel, Hamza Shiraz versus Carlos Adames, Erislandy Lara versus Vergil Ortiz, Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Biylo, Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, and listen, they can still possibly pop Terrence Crawford on this card. Even though I'm getting closer to believing that Canelo Crawford fight gonna happen, I'm starting to believe everybody went quiet. That's always a sign. Everybody went quiet. Ain't nothing talk. You don't hear no rumors about Canelo, no nothing. Shh. And then we know Beterbiev is off the table because Canelo was wanting him. So I don't know. Hold out some hope. So let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Did I? I guess, listen, Boots got some cleaning up to do. He got some cleaning up to do, and it's looking like that maybe they want to stay at 147 because 147 is really weak right now. For example, you got Mario Barrios, who went life and death on the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson card with Abel Ramos. Amanda Stanionis is fighting this mandatory Guyasov. That's going to be a good fight. And then you got Brian Norman Jr. That's still a big question mark around him. Like, he's a champion, but he don't got nothing there either. Ain't no disrespect, but ain't nothing there. We got to see something. So you can argue that Boots can still be undisputed or at least unified at 147 with this crop of guys. He could beat up Mario Barrios. The only problem I see he would probably have issues with is maybe Stanionis, especially if he had the type of issues he had with Karinchuk. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy as revamping some things. And also, I'm going to have a boxing exclusive Fight View 360 tweets and everything, highlights. I'm going to be getting back on that grind. I am looking for a video editor for a really, just imagine if I had an editor for my videos. How it's time to get with the times. I'm looking for a video editor. You can reach me on Twitter. I would like you to reach me on Twitter. Just give me a follow. The link is down below in the description box because I check these messages way more than I check my emails, to be honest with you. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. All the links to my social media right down below in the description box. And you'll see the link to my secondary channel, monetized, partnered TstreeT Uncut channel, where my streams will be, and the clips of those streams will be put on this channel, the main channel. Every now and then I'll stream on the main channel, but to be very honest, this channel is been transitioning for some years now to a variety channel. So yes, boxing is always going to be here, but there may be times where I may put a lot of stuff on the TstreeT Uncut channel, depending on how big the fight is or not. So once again, thanks for watching. Drop a comment, like, share, subscribe, and TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360.